I'd like to welcome everybody to my podcast, Jupiter number 9. I am your gracious host, number 9. And in this first episode, man, I want to talk about me and where I grew up, you know what I'm saying? Buffalo, New York, and the vision I have for this podcast, man. So I grew up in Buffalo, New York, man, upstate New York, know what I mean? Upstate New York, Buffalo, is really, really cold. A lot of snow in Buffalo, know what I mean? I no longer live in Buffalo. Now I reside in Tennessee, you know what I'm saying? And the things that I learned from growing up in Buffalo, New York, know what I mean? I'm very appreciative because it taught me how to survive, you know what I mean? It taught me how to survive. Growing up in Buffalo is very hard. It's very, very hard to grow up in Buffalo, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this to say like, you know, other places is like Buffalo is the worst place to live, like, you know what I'm saying? Buffalo has it the worst. But the conditions in Buffalo is a little bit different because of all the snow. You know what I mean? People don't understand when you live in a place like that who gets so much snow. And not too long ago, they just got crushed with like 80 inches of snow. You know what I mean? It's very hard. It's very hard to find opportunities in Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? That's probably the toughest thing, you know, trying to find a job, you know, that can help you live a comfortable life. It's not a lot of opportunities, you know what I'm saying, on the east side of Buffalo. Not a lot of good opportunities. You know what I mean? You got your jobs like McDonald's and all that, but those are not jobs that can really sustain your life comfortably. You know what I'm saying? And that's the issue with, you know, living in Buffalo. It's not a lot of opportunities, man. But it wasn't all bad growing up in Buffalo. You know what I mean? As a kid, you know, I remember times, you know, it's snowing all the time, and you know, being a kid, it just, you know, want to go outside and play in the snow and make snowmen, and you know what I'm saying? The normal stuff kids do. You know, I moved to an area in the east side at the time. You know, Buffalo has a big population of Polish people. You know what I'm saying? Polish, Italian. You know what I'm saying? So when I moved this area on Court and Broadway at the time, you know, it had a lot of Polish people there. You know what I mean? You know, and then, you know, with most areas, most inner cities, you know what I'm saying, a lot of them were decimated in the 80s by, you know, with the surges of, you know, crack coming into the area and kind of like, you know, destroying the fabric of the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I remember it was a point in time to where you can go to your neighbor for sugar and bread and stuff like that. You know, growing up as a kid, you know, everybody looked out for each other, you know what I'm saying? The kids were looked over by the adults in the neighborhood. You know, a lot of things you couldn't do as a kid, you would get in trouble 3 times over for that shit, you know what I'm saying? It's not like it is today where the adults really don't look out for the kids like they used to, you know what I'm saying? Like if a kid did something wrong back when I was growing up, you know what I mean? You know, you would be punished for that, not only by your moms or your pops or both. You would be punished by, you know, the neighbors, you know, the guys in the neighborhood, some of the street guys, like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you did something wrong, you would get a whooping by your neighbor, the guys in the neighborhood. Like you would have 3 whoopings by the time you get to Mom Duke's. You have 3 fucking whoopings. And by the time you get to your mom's, you'd be like, man, is this even worth it? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it wasn't all bad, you know. It had some rough times, some good times. You know, I remember the good times being a kid, growing up in Buffalo, New York, you know what I'm saying? And the good times would be like the holidays, you know, because I didn't have an understanding of holidays and the true meaning of holidays, where they came from, that I do now. You know, and getting gifts and stuff like that. We didn't get gifts all the time growing up because Mom Dukes and you know, she didn't really have money like that. So, you know, she had to figure out a way to. A lot of times she looked to my uncle, you know what I'm saying, to help her out with like getting money for gifts for the holidays for us. She would tell us, like, you know what I'm saying. After the whole thing with Santa Claus and all that, we got to a certain age and shit. She made sure to let us know that, you know, our uncles looked out a lot of times for us on the holidays. So that was always a plus. You know, just having that, you know, the things that you remember as a kid is like the holidays and, you know, spending time with your uncles and shit like that. Those are things I remember. You know what I mean? Those are the things I remember growing up as a kid in Buffalo, New York. You know what I'm saying? Just spending time with my uncles. My uncles, you know, they spent a decent amount of time with me when I was coming up. You know what I'm saying? Take me to, you know, the basketball courts and all that. Play basketball with me. I remember going to see my uncle play in college. You know what I'm saying? A couple times. Yeah, man. Like I say, Buffalo, New York is a small. Like people get it twisted and confused. Like when you go to other states, they think Buffalo, New York is part of, you know, New York City and whatnot, but it's not. It's 6 hours away, 7 hours away from New York City. You know what I'm saying? So Buffalo like is its own like little country. You know what I mean? It's like its own like little country. You know, own like, you know, we like the underdogs of New York State, man. Like nobody comes to Buffalo to visit. Nobody comes to Buffalo to sightsee. Like Buffalo has a lot of similarities to like Cleveland. You know what I mean? Detroit. Those cities are very similar. You know what I'm saying? Those Lake Erie cities. Those cities have been, you know, one point in time, those cities was really vibrant cities, really prospering in like the 50s and 60s, and in the beginning of the 70s. Those cities were prospering, you know, with a lot of factory work. You know what I'm saying? Cleveland and Buffalo is identical as far as like the cities and, you know, the type of weather they get. And you know, them being factory cities and all that. You know what I'm saying? Cleveland and Buffalo is very, very, very similar. Along with Detroit as well. You know what I mean? They used to call Buffalo Little Detroit back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But the things I went through, you know, being homeless at one point in time in my life, being homeless, coming out of that a bunch of times. I've probably been like homeless 4 or 5 times in my life. You know what I'm saying? 4 or 5 times easily, maybe more. I don't know. It was so many times. You know, it happened so many times that I kind of lost count. You know what I'm saying? And the one recently was a few years ago. So anybody can, you know, come up off the ground and dust themselves off and make something out of themselves, man. Don't let nobody tell you can't. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's what you know, Buffalo made. It made me tough. You know what I'm saying? It made me tough. You had to be tough. You know, you had brutal weather. You like brutal weather, snow, 80. Buffalo gets a lot of snow, man. There's no comparison. Like New York City gets snow too, but Buffalo gets snow. And I tell you, like a lot of people don't know, like when it comes to like snow that we get in Buffalo, you know what I'm saying, as a city, it's different, because if you don't have any type of like job by the time the snow hits in Buffalo, you know what I'm saying, it's very, very difficult to find one when the snow hits, because you get so much snow. A lot of jobs are not hiring anybody, because, you know, business dies down when that type of snow hits all the time. So you're not getting a lot of job opportunities. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have a job by the time the snow hit, which is around, you know, around November, like mid-November, You know what I'm saying? That's when the snow usually hits around mid-November. You're in trouble, man. That's all I can say, man. You're in trouble. And, that's the toughest thing to have to deal with coming from, living in Buffalo is the job opportunities. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of job opportunities, especially in the wintertime, because all the hectic snow that we get. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very tough to make it in the winter in Buffalo. That's for anybody. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. It's very, very tough. But my whole goal with this podcast, you know what I'm saying, is to help people. You know what I mean? I'm going to be touching on topics of investing. I'm going to be touching on topics on, relationship, you know what I'm saying, topics. I'm going to be touching on topics on, how to make money online, like little side things you can do to make few extra dollars to get you through. You know what I'm saying? Because we all need help, man. We all need help in this day and time, and we all need help financially. You know what I'm saying? I think that, this is the time for us to come together and, look out for each other. You know what I'm saying? Look out for each other and, just spread. If there's some information that, you have that can be helpful to somebody, you don't always have to have a financial gain to help somebody. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times people look for a financial gain just to help somebody. Like yesterday, it's very sad, man. It's very sad in America today that people are still homeless in America. America is one of the richest countries, and you'll see, I see a lot of homeless here in Tennessee, like, you know what I mean? And it's very sad, man. It just, like, I'll give you an example. I seen a lady, she was holding a sign, and she said, in her sign, it said, "We work for food. I will work for food." And people don't understand, when you're homeless like that, people think you could just jump up and get a job. Like, I've been homeless. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not that easy to jump up and get a job, and especially if you've been out of work for a long time and you got gaps in your work history. You know what I'm saying? If you got long gaps in your work history, a lot of companies won't hire you. Like, you know what I mean? They're gonna be like, "Well, why you have such a long gap in your work history?" You know what I'm saying? And people a lot of times look at homeless people as, crazy drug addicts, which some do have those issues. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that they don't have these issues, but a lot of times people just fall on hard luck, man. And I've been there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've been there where, been homeless, nowhere to go, and people looking at me like, I must have a mental issue or I must have a drug problem, when I just fell on hard times, man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes life can get to you, and there's only so much one person can take. And that's the thing, like, you know what I'm saying? It's almost so much one person can do. It's almost so much one person can take from this world, from this society. Like, you know what I'm saying? People don't understand how bad and how tough it is for, a person to just go through every day and just make it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very, very tough, man. And, I just want to be the one who, can teach somebody something, because I have a lot of information in my head, in my mind, and just, show people. Hopefully I can show people a better way of, helping them out financially. You know what I'm saying? I think that society itself don't really focus on, the importance, and what's important is your health. And I will be talking on topics on health too as well. You know what I'm saying? Health and finances. Your health is the most important. You know what I mean? Your health is the most important. But I'll be touching on things like health, finance. You know what I'm saying? Relationships, stuff like that. But when it comes to a homeless man,